everyone and welcome to the Tree of Hope blog. I'm Georgie and today we have a really special episode for you because we're sitting down with our CEO, Becky Andrew. So we just want to have a chat with Becky just to reflect on the past year, what we've achieved, the challenges we've faced and the incredible impact that's been made possible by our amazing community of families, fundraisers and supporters like you. So we can be here to help families navigate this ever-challenging world of provision and funding, which Tree of Hope are very much here to support. So Becky will be sharing her vision for the future, and we are reflecting back on our annual review and our exciting 3-year strategy bridging the gap. So whether you're here as part of the Tree of Hope community already or just curious about our mission, do stick around because it's going to be a great conversation. So welcoming our Tree of Hope CEO, Becky Andrew. Hello.
Hi Georgie, thank you. Very exciting. Our first blog video.
Absolutely. So yeah, as we've just said to our supporters, we're just looking back at our annual review, which has been a massive piece of work, but I think a really nice chance for us to reflect on your first year as our CEO. And also gives us a chance to kind of look ahead.
I think what you said about reflection is something always really cathartic about doing an annual review, because not only are you looking back at the achievements and the accomplishments, but I think you also look back at those challenges and your ability as an individual, as an organisation to overcome them. It's definitely been a year of learning and growth, and I'm really proud and also so grateful to the whole Tree of Hope community, the team, the trustees, that I suppose their belief in me and what we're doing and you know, being given the opportunity to really shape something new and ambitious and getting on board with that, which is really exciting. So yeah, I'm really happy to sort of share some of the highlights from the year and also as we look to the future.
Brilliant. Let's start off with the highlights with the annual review in mind.
I suppose with any annual review, there are the numbers, which both financial and in terms of impact are important. But for me, the absolute most important part is around the stories of the families that we have been supporting, and the annual review is enriched with those. Obviously, that's just a few of the hundreds of families that we've worked with, but I suppose I would encourage everyone here to, if you're curious about what Tree of Hope does and who we are, start with the stories of the families that we're supporting, because that truly does bring to life the vital role that we play in supporting families to get the healthcare that their children need. However, I will talk briefly about the numbers. So the headline stats. So we've supported just under 400 families, and those are the families that have been actively fundraising or actively spending their hard-earned funds to access the life-changing treatments, therapies, equipment, home adaptations, you name it. They've been spending that hard-earned cash. But I suppose more widely than that, we also have hundreds of families that may have chosen to pause fundraising or pause spending for numerous reasons, primarily that we can be with a child and their family throughout their whole childhood. So it might be that they're waiting for the next phase of their development. But I think it's really important for us as an organisation that we're still here. They still know we're here. We still keep them informed. They get our newsletters. They get our resources. So whenever they're ready to come back to us, they can. And whilst they're waiting to take their next step, we're, protecting their hard-earned fundraising money. I think another key highlight is the launch of our new website. Kudos to Georgie here for sort of leading on that and the whole team. I think it's really given us an amazing platform to both showcase the work that we're doing, but also in terms of that family's journey, it's really clear now. They're able to better understand exactly what Tree of Hope does and the support that we can provide. So we've really noticed a difference in how families are accessing that support. Another key highlight for me personally, but I think for us as an organisation, is the development of our 3-year strategy. So we officially launched that, I suppose, in this financial year, not last financial year. but a lot of the groundwork was done from between February and October, culminating in the launch event that we had. And this is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the first time we've had a 3-year strategy. So we've been really looking at that sort of more medium to long term plan and vision and how we want to accomplish that. And personally, going through that process was really important, stepping into a new organization. It allowed me to get to know the team better, the trustees better, and also our families and our wider community. And I feel like there's a piece of everyone within the strategy, and it's really been shaped by everyone in the community. So that was really important. And I think we've got a strong piece of work. It's ambitious, to say the least. But, we already started working on some of the elements in the last year, and particularly, I think, in around strengthening our behind the scenes work. So the foundations that make Tree of Hope what it is, make it run smoothly. That might not always be visible, but it is so important that all the cogs are turning and they're working effectively. So that's everything from digital tools to strengthening collaboration, to even looking at the way that we track families' journey, both to better support them, but also to be able to share with all of our wonderful supporters and potential supporters the impact of our work. And then finally, I think my reflection of this year is that community. It's the community of supporters, of funders, of partners, of families, of friends, of everyone rallying around families in what can be an extremely challenging and isolating time. It almost personifies why we exist, that hope, and it gives families that hope that they're not alone. And it's sometimes difficult to capture that with Tree of Hope. We can look at the finances. Yes, we've helped families raise close to $1 million. They've spent close to $1 million, but actually, it is that community of support that is a unique thing that Tree of Hope does. And I think fundraising is an amazing tool for doing that. From working with volunteers in your community, working with businesses in your community, it generally does make a huge difference. So yeah, there's so many things I could speak about the annual review, but I think for me, those are some of the key highlights. And I'm just really proud of everything that we've achieved. And I think we've made really significant progress. There is still more to do, but I know that we've laid a solid foundation for the next 3 years.
Amazing. Thanks, Becky. It's great to hear your reflections. We always do so much in a year, and you've just summed it up perfectly, so thank you for that. So if we look ahead now, obviously you've mentioned the 3-year strategy, and we're already 6 months into our first year, which is quite terrifying. But what would you say are the priorities for Tree of Hope as we look at this year that we're in and beyond?
Yeah, so I think the main aim of our Bridging the Gap strategy is to help families get funding faster so they can access healthcare sooner. And a key part of this strategy is looking at ways that we can enhance our fundraising model to support that. And one of the key initiatives that we did launch is our Partners in Hope. So the idea being that we can help reduce some of that burden on families, whilst we see the benefits of them fundraising and empowering them to fundraise and supporting them to fundraise. Actually, can we help them even more by creating dedicated funds, working with passionate organisations like ourselves who really want to improve the lives of children and young people. And we launched our Hope in the Home in October. That is a key priority. We're having some really great conversations with different organisations. They really love what we do. They get it. We are hopeful that we're going to get people to, sign on that dotted line and we can get those funds. But that's something that, we really want to do, because it's not only helping sustain the future growth of the organisation, it's also, more importantly, making sure that families are getting that healthcare access sooner for their children and young people. Another key thing is around, I suppose, expanding our reach to more communities within the UK. I think we have a good national spread, but we want to make sure that more families know about that, and know about us, and know about the support that we can offer, and see the value in that. And that's not always easy as a small charity. We don't have unlimited marketing budget, so we do have to rely on quite an organic approach about building our brand reputation, about being in those spaces where families can hear about us, being open to those conversations about how we can support them in the best and most unique way. So I suppose in order to do that, a big focus is on our brand and building that awareness. So everything from making more improvements to our website, to our brand identity. So these are some of the things that we're going to focus on. And then another exciting project that we really want to try and get off the ground is our family support hub. So this is a digital platform where we're really hoping that we can offer more to families from a fundraising support perspective. Technology is an amazing thing, have the huge potential for good. And I think that's definitely something we want to explore. And we've, creating that blueprint for what that family support hub can do for families. So everything from creating a peer-to-peer support community to tailored resources around specific areas of fundraising, to even matching volunteers directly with families who can help them with their fundraising efforts. So, I'm not going to say this is all going to happen overnight and even in this year, but I think it is really important that we have that goal in mind and we're all working towards it, which, I know the team and the trustees are fully behind. So yeah, bridging the gap, year one, it's more of that foundation building, but I think we are going to also be delivering on, and enhancing that support, getting families the help they need sooner. And hopefully the impact will be evident in the healthcare outcomes for children and young people that we support.
Amazing. That sounds great. You're doing so well. You sound brilliant. Okay. So Becky, final question, and I suppose this goes way beyond where we're currently at and the strategy that we're working on. But how would you say that Tree of Hope is in a unique position to help address the growing gap in children's healthcare services?
Yeah, that is a big question. I suppose actually it's probably useful for people to, because I don't think I was so aware of this until I joined Tree of Hope, about what that gap actually looks like. So it manifests itself in several ways, but the impact on families is that they're facing longer waiting lists, rising costs, fewer funding options. We have an incredible NHS, we have an incredible public services, but sadly the resources simply aren't there to give the extent of support that children and young people need. And this isn't just young people with very complex conditions. This is a huge range of conditions. We support an average of 65 conditions every year, and we're seeing challenges across families of all income levels, families of all circumstance. So I think it is important to remind that this is a very real and stark problem. In terms of the way that we're uniquely positioned, there aren't really any other charities that offer what we do. And I think on the face of it, it looks like, okay, Tree of Hope, they're a fundraising charity, they help families fundraise. But at the heart of it is about empowerment. It's about empowering families and giving them more autonomy and more control over the decisions they're making, because it can, feel very overwhelming. They are presented with a huge wealth of information, a huge wealth of resources, and it's our job to give them quite a practical and supportive toolkit to help them get what they need for their child and young person, obviously with all the due diligence and everything else in place. But my message to people listening to this or reading this is that we are more than a fundraising charity. We are that shoulder for families to lean on. We're that voice at the end of the phone. We're the detectives who, research every possible funding option in their area with collectors, connecting them with communities, with volunteers, and we're the champions. We want to share the journeys of these families, from the challenges, from the wins, from the successes, from the hope, from the heartbreak. That these families deserve to have their voices heard, and I think that is a really powerful tool as well. So the combination of all of those things is very unique. There aren't huge amounts of organisations out there, and we are open to pretty much every single family. That's something quite unique, I think, for a charity in the UK. So I suppose until the gap closes or gets closer to closing, we will always be here to help bridge that gap, and support our incredible NHS, support the public services that are doing such incredible things. We're here to complement those things, and I think that's really important as well.
Ace.